Hey everybody, thanks for watching A Guy Doing Stuff. I'm Adam and today I'm going to be weaving a cane seat. These are the seats I made for the canoe I'm building. I'm using a medium width 3mm cane I got from Amazon. The only tools you really need to do this are an awl, some clippers, and a bunch of these little pegs. For this size cane, you need 1/4 inch holes spaced 3/4 of an inch away from each other. I'm putting dimensions and details for everything in the video description. Cane comes in strands of about 8 feet long. Before you weave the strands, you gotta soak them in water for about 15 minutes to make them a little less brittle. I soak about 3 strands at a time as I work and replace them as I go. The first layer is vertical. I stick a strand in one of the back holes in the middle, leaving about 4 inches hanging below, and put a little peg in to hold it tight as I work. I bring it across the top with the shiny side up, feed it down the opposite hole, up through the hole next to it, and then back across to the other side. I work like this all the way to one side. When I reach this side, I peg it off, go back to where I started, and work towards the other side. For these first couple layers, you want them tight, but not super tight, because that makes the last 2 layers really hard to weave. For the second layer, you pretty much just repeat the first layer, but horizontally instead of vertically. You don't have to do any weaving for this one, you just lay it right on top of the first layer. For the third layer, you go back to vertical, still laying your lines on top of the existing layers, but this time make sure that you place your strands just to the right of the first layer. This is probably the easiest kind of seat to learn how to weave cane for, because it's small and square. You can weave cane for trapezoidal and circular seats too, it's just a little bit more difficult. The fourth layer is when it starts to get kind of tricky. This is another horizontal step, but now you weave your strand over the third layer and under the first layer. You can save time by feeding a few weaves at a time through before you pull the rest of the strand all the way through. Here's what the weave should look like after the first 4 layers. The 5th layer is diagonal. You start on a corner hole and weave over the vertical strands and under the horizontal strands. You weave from one corner to the other side, then weave it all the way along one side of the seat, then go back to where you started and weave the other half. It's important on these diagonal layers to get 2 strands entering the corners where you start from. If you do it right, it makes this little fish head shape like this. The last layer is the most difficult to weave because the pattern's really tight now. I start from the back corner, opposite from where I started the 5th layer, and this time I go over the horizontal layers and under the vertical layers. This is where the awl starts to be really helpful. For tight spaces that are difficult to get the cane into, you can gently pry it up to fit the strand through. It takes a lot longer to do this last layer, so if the strand you're working with dries out and starts to lose its flexibility, it's okay to just end it at any hole prematurely and start with another wet strand at the next hole. After the weave is complete, there are still a couple more steps. To bind the edges, you use this cane that's a little bit wider. You put it in a corner hole without sticking it at the bottom, then bend it over, make a loop with a 3mm wide strand over the top of it like this, and pull it down. Cinch the binding, then feed the strand up the next hole, loop it over, cinch it down, and continue like this for the rest of the holes. You do this for all four sides of the seat. Then lightly tap these little caning pegs in the corner holes for a nice looking finish. The last step is to tie off all the ends on the bottom of the seat. You can see on the bottom all the ends are still sticking out. To tie them off, you take the loose strand, pry some room here with the awl, feed it under, then tie it with the end facing inward. Work your way around the seat, doing this with all the loose ends. Weaving cane was a really hard thing to make a short video for. It kind of reminds me of like tying fancy knots. You can watch people do it all day long, but you really just gotta practice a little bit to actually get it. I put some links to some other people's videos that are longer and have some more details in the video description. Thanks for watching A Guy Doing Stuff. Don't forget to click this little circle to subscribe to my channel and watch more canoe building videos.